The push to repeal and replace Obamacare comes to a head tomorrow in the House. Lawmakers scheduled to vote on the GOP plan. Even as President Trump continued the hard sell today, several House Republicans are holding out. It's not clear tonight if they have the votes to pass the measure and send it on to the Senate. The question I have is, will House Speaker Ryan allow a vote if he can't win? The president has told GOP lawmakers that failing to pass the replacement bill could cost them their jobs, could cost them re-election. Health care was just one of the issues Maryland Congressman Anthony Brown discussed during a meeting with the president today. Congressman Brown joins us live right now from the U.S. Capitol. Congressman Brown, thanks for joining us. What did you and the president have to say about this health care bill? You're on different sides of this issue.
Yeah, how you doing, Bruce? Yeah, definitely on the different side of the president when it comes to health care. While the president promised health care for everybody, that's certainly not what we're seeing in this Republican-sponsored plan or proposal that might be on the floor tomorrow, and it's endorsed by the president. The big concern that I have, Democrats have, and quite frankly, many Americans have, is that it's going to result in about 24 million fewer Americans with health insurance. We're going to see an increase in costs, out-of-pocket costs, deductibles, co-pays. There's basically an age tax in there. If you're over age 55, your premiums can be 5 times more than my daughter, who is in her 20s. And there's also what is now being referred to as a millennium penalty. Young people who are more likely to be off of their health coverage for a period greater than 2 months if they try to get health insurance, or they're going to have to pay a penalty. So it's not a good deal for America. We're opposing it. Maybe it'll come to the floor tomorrow. We're not even sure if the Republicans have the votes because many Republicans recognize it's a bad deal.
Yeah, and that's my question. Are you in position to count votes on the Republican side? What are you hearing? I mean, the last thing I heard before we came out here is that they may not have the votes needed, and that House Speaker Ryan, if he can't win, he may not even put it up for a vote. What are you hearing from where you sit?
Sure, and we're not doing a count because, that's the Republican conference. But everything that we're hearing, they are short the votes that they need. The Freedom Caucus is opposed to it. I think the Freedom Caucus, basically, the only thing that they'll accept is an outright repeal of the Affordable Care Act. That's a non-starter for most Americans, and certainly for Democrats here on the Hill. There are a number of other moderate Republicans as well that just don't think that this is the fix. It's too expensive for too little coverage for most Americans, many Americans.
Well, President Trump, he prides himself on being a deal maker. So my question is, why did he want to talk to you? Why did he have you over to the White House today?
So I was at the White House today with the leadership of the Congressional Black Caucus, and we went to the White House at the president's request, and he wanted to be in a conversation with the Congressional Black Caucus leadership, and we thought it was a great opportunity to help him answer the question that he asked African Americans during the campaign. And he said, what do you have to lose? So we went to the White House to demonstrate to President Trump that the African American community, which is not a monolithic community, has a lot to lose. And we pointed to specific provisions in his skinny budget. The cuts to Pell Grants, the flat funding the historically black colleges and universities while cutting other grant programs to those institutions, eliminating Meals on Wheels, and a number of other provisions, including the cuts to community development block grants. So this is going to have severe impact on the African American community. Certainly it would be a loss. So we try to help him answer the question by pointing out to some of the things that he is doing. We also told him that we had concerns about the language that he uses in characterizing the African American community as if we're all impoverished, living in inner city neighborhoods. We try to share with him, who we are as African Americans and the breadth of diversity that we have within the African American community. But then we quickly turn to talk about solutions to issues like infrastructure investments and creating jobs and opportunities. We talked about criminal justice reform and higher education.
So you are prepared to work with this president if you can find some common ground here?
Yes, and that's our responsibility. We were
Absolutely.
elected to Congress to work within the Congress as well as the administration. President Trump will be in office for 4 years, and it's our responsibility to find common ground. However, where we disagree, we will disagree forcefully.
Congressman Brown, thanks a lot for your time.
You mentioned the travel ban. We don't support that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.